from this point on. So if you're a person in the chat or a person listening, watching on VOD, sign up for the next one. Go to hearthstats.net/league and find out more information how to get into the qualifiers for the Grinders League to work your way up. There's a few levels, and it should be fun time, and hopefully we'll see you guys here next season. Game 1 has begun, and Miracle Rogue is the choice for Gara. I read the name off wrong. For Firebat. And unfortunately for Ek0p, not Amaz, he's going to be going for the Priest, which is it's a very difficult matchup for the Priest, in my opinion.
Maz has a beard now. Nice.
There you go.
Okay, so we're seeing Rogue against Priest. This is a matchup that normally favors the Rogue, but it can go very bad, as Ek0p does happen to have a Lothub in his hand. Lothub, again, the perfect counter to an Auctioneer Conceal. And he has the coin, which means the Rogue doesn't, so it's a huge deal as well. Because the Rogue kind of needs the coin for some auto-win shenanigans.
Yeah, I'd say so for sure.
Yeah. It's got Auctioneer Circle, a good combo as well, in case things get out of hand. Things don't look to be getting out of hand from either side. No crazy death rattle starts. And no crazy turn 5 get him hand with the Rogue deck. We could be seeing a coin out into the Blade Master, circle it up, but leaves him open to sap.
Yeah, it does open you up to sap, but how often is sap being kept against Priest early on?
Very true.
It's a risk that I feel like you have to take sometimes to seize initiative on the board. You are giving up Circle and Auctioneer, though. That is a tool to use against Miracle Rogue for those annoying creatures like Gadgetzan or even Azure Drake if it's being put into the deck.
From what we see here is we're going to see a very strong start from the Priest with the injured Blade Master. That's because he didn't have any death rattles, of course. He could lose the Undertaker here to the Deadly Poison, but that only leaves him 2 mana to Shiv with and not really do anything else. His game plan is going to revolve around this 4/7 living because he doesn't really have much for options otherwise.
His turn 3 looks like a heal unless he picks up something else. Firebat's playing Sinister Strike to his Miracle Rogue, so going for more damage centric to the face and getting those activators.
Yeah, he might be playing the Cold Light Oracle, Sinister Strike, Cold Blood, like Racing version of Miracle Rogue. That is very popular amongst his group.
Okay, good to know. Good to know. Now, Ek0p does pick up a minion to drop. That's the most important thing. You just don't want to be missing drops and not developing the board whatsoever because of how much the Miracle Rogue can sweep you or sweep the board rather, and then you have nothing else to compound advantage on. Like Power Word Shield might actually not have a target whatsoever if you lose something. This was a painful exchange, but a necessary one, so that way Firebat can stabilize. And Ek0p only has a 2/1, which a lot of players told me that they don't dig Loot Hoarder in the deck just because of the loss in tempo, even though you get a nice card count. But sometimes it's necessary because oftentimes Loot Hoarder is the only 2-drop in the Priest deck.
Yeah, I think it's the best option for Death Rattles for Priest. It's Haunted Creeper, like you have nothing really good to use it with. A lot of people are even cutting the 1 Argus. So Loot Hoarder is probably just your best option. It gets you towards your late game as well, which is very important. Priest is a very combo-centric deck, although it doesn't really seem like it. A lot of its cards work best in pairs, like Auctioneer Circle,
Circle injured Blade Master.
Exactly.
Yes.
So you kind of need the card filter.
Firebat trying to just stall as much as he can, but he's using so many of his cards, and this is exactly what Ek0p wanted to see, although now he didn't want to see this. The Cold Blood on the SI7 agent to start pushing in damage. Firebat trying to just do whatever he can to potentially win without any hopes of drawing Actioneer.
Yeah, this version of the Miracle Rogue deck likes to just use all of its face damage as soon as it can. I've definitely seen Leroy Conceal plays come from this version a lot more. Looks like we lagged out of a turn.
I think we didn't miss anything. Just
okay.
a little bit of issue here with the streaming player, making sure that it doesn't, so that it doesn't fail on us. So we just had a temporary switch seed.
Okay. Okay, so Lotheb comes down, which is going to answer the SI next turn. But he's potentially going to be taking 7 more. Well, he's for sure going to be taking 7 more.
Okay, we lost Firebat's POV, but we know that he has Leroy and he has Sinister Strike, and he's going in for a damage press. What did he draw? Thanos?
Ooh. Yeah, he's definitely he's definitely playing the all-in version. So expect to see some Cold Light Oracles from this deck.
Yeah, funny enough, Leroy isn't the biggest threat on the board, but you are trying to shut down things like Shadow Step as being an outer. Now, Ek0p has multiple ways in doing this. But
yeah, but he has no really good clear for everything. He has to give up his Lotheb, and it only leaves him with the 3/5. And he'd be at 8 health if he does that.
Yeah, but at least he takes care of the Leroy so that Shadow Step doesn't become an out.
This version also plays Arcane Golem.
Oh, does it? Okay. I didn't know that.
It plays one of each, yeah. Okay, so Shadow Madness. Trade with the Leroy, trade with the SI, and heal up to 10. Seems okay. It's probably fine to give back the initiative to the rogue player with only 1 card in his hand.
That 1 card is Sinister Strike, and there's no 1 card that can make up the 6 remaining damage plus the hero power, I feel.
Nope. That would be Leroy.
It was Shadow Step. Well, if he had that knowledge, perhaps he'd hold on to the Leroy, but hindsight's always 20/20.
Yeah, I was just
now, but he still could pick up Arcane Golem. That might be the damage that he needs.
Yeah. Arcane Golem would be very, very good here. It'll give him lethal for the next turn. Like for this turn. But after this turn he can heal up out of range, so he'd have to draw more damage.
Ek0p prioritizing healing himself up, knowing that his opponent is reaching for damage. Firebat picks up Eviscerate, so that's 7 in hand. And of course the 8th from the hero power, so he's still just a little bit short. 1 more piece of damage, maybe another Sinister Strike or an Arcane Golem would end this game. That's only 2 chargers, right? They don't run South Sea Deckhand or anything like that as another way to get damage in?
They weren't, but at some point they were experimenting with South Sea, so I don't know if it's made its way back into the deck.
Okay.
I know that they're playing at least 2 chargers, though. Which is very good for what this deck tries to do. We could see Cold Light Oracle come up. Novice Engineer Shadow Step.
It's interesting.
He's just looking for that last little bit. With this version of the Rogue deck, you have to go all in, though.
Yeah, it feels like a hybrid between the draw element of Miracle, but you take the hyper-aggressive version of the backspace Rogue. Oh, second Shadow Step. Now, how much damage is he looking at? 7, 9, 11. And then if there's a way to pop the Zombie Chow, that's actually the damage that he needs. So Firebat's in a tough position here where he might just die next turn.
Yeah. This could be very, very bad.
But if he draws to a charger, it doesn't matter almost what Ek0p does to heal himself. He'll certainly have the damage.
Yeah, could be any charger, I think, except for maybe Deckhand. Or unless Deckhand would do it. He'd be at
Deckhand
13
is 6, 10, 13. Even then,
wow.
I suppose you do have a little bit extra. Wow.
He plays it
He
in
is
case he
going for
needs
the
the
Sinister
mana.
Strike now.
Yeah, he might need the mana in case he top decks one of his outs.
Right.
He just goes in, heals himself back up, and then plays one of his high-costed creatures.
Yeah, there's no way to pop Zombie Chow for lethal. So best course of action is just to do something on the board and hope your opponent doesn't have the card that he's looking for. But there still are outs in Firebat's deck. And he's dug through 3 cards already. Can he get the 4th one to potentially be the game-winning card here? No, Blade Flurry is not it.
So close, yet so far.
Yes, he's gonna fall just, I think, 4 points of damage at the moment. Still has the double Shadow Steps, but I don't think there's a way for him to survive. So Ek0p will outlast this Rogue deck, which is it even classified as a miracle? What kind of Rogue is it officially? Brawl. You don't have ways to efficiently remove, and you're forced to execute like things that are just way too, like that they're not useful whatsoever. Like you might execute like a Dark Cultist, and it's like just because it's too much.
Yeah.
Firebat mulligans away Brawl though. That's something that's interesting. I think he wants a better start. The Fiery War Axe is crucial. Brawl is a mass removal. He hopefully can pick it up later in the game though.
Yeah, you really need to find that Fiery War Axe. Like, it's worth throwing away every card. That's one of the key warrior cards, especially in this matchup. Deals with Zombie Chow, deals with Undertaker before it can get out of hand. Deals with Northshire Cleric as well, which is a huge deal. It's one of the only ways you can lose if you fall too far behind with cards.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Completely agree in that department. But he doesn't get it. He mulliganed back the Sludge
Everything.
Belcher, a pair of cool tasks, and an execute. So he has the way to deal with the larger creatures. But like I said, sometimes you don't want to use execute on cards like the Undertaker, even though that's what the situation calls for at times.
Yeah, it feels bad killing a 1 mana creature with a high priority removal like Execute. Sometimes you have to, though.
Wow, a very poor start. And the nice thing is Ek0p didn't miss anything on curve, and he has the Dark Cultist to start reeling in the damage. And Firebat is looking for ways to answer immediately. Fire War Axe is probably the last opportunity for him to draw and do something here.
I think he's really regretting throwing away that Brawl, though. Again, this looks like another really weak turn. He can't really use the shield block, even though he wants to because his hand quality is actually so poor. But he has no real good draws, unless he draws Shield Slam and he coins it out. But I feel like he wants to coin out the Sludge Belcher next turn, maybe. Give himself some sort of board.
Oh, another Death Rattle minion for Ek0p. And that's what the Priest deck is supposed to do here, the early game. There are possibilities, as we saw with the Maz, where you run out of gas and you're drawing the wrong end of your deck. But when it goes nice and according to game plan, things are just so snowbally for this Priest deck. Not to mention, there's cards like Shadow Madness and Cabal Shadow Priest to deal with these low attack creatures from the Warrior that can often fight for the Priest instead.
Yeah. Well, the next 2 turns for the Priest deck look pretty academic. He's going to probably just play the Lotheb because he's got so much damage on the board already. He can just amplify that. And if he makes any sort of recourse, like a Sludge Belcher, he can kill off the Sludge Belcher and then take the token with the Cabal Shadow Priest. That's just not looking too strong for the Warrior side. Although he does have Gore Howl, which is a very, very good card against the Priest deck if you can make it late game.
That's a big if, Impact. And right now, the if is still conditional. There's no guarantee of him being able to survive that long without being in critical amounts of health.
Yeah.
Does he have to use an execute here?
Yeah, he does.
It appears so. The coin of the Sludge Belcher represents too much passivity, and it's easy for your opponent to have yet another way to stack in damage. Oh gosh. This was not what it was going to plan, but take the good with the bad.
Lotheb just seems amazing on this board.
Shuts down the brawl. You do have Shadow Madness and Zombie Chow play to clear, but you can get much better value off of that. If you know your opponent plays Sludge Belchers, you can use Shadow Madness to work for you and even bypass the taunts on a turn where your opponent isn't expecting it. And I think Lothar is a vast superior play here.
Yeah. It also really sets up his play next turn because on 5 mana, the warrior is typically playing Sludge Belcher, so he has the perfect way to kill it without losing anything. And then he can just take the 1/2.
All right, and Ek0p just continuing to press his advantage here. Steal that Sludge token, push for 5 damage.
Yeah, if the game keeps going like this, the Zombie Chow might not ever give Firebat back the 5 life. I guess he's choosing to draw. If he chooses to draw, I can also really understand that because the Cabal has higher priority targets to steal, like Armor Smiths, Acolyte of Pains.
Yep, sure.
And one of the only ways that you fall behind as the priest is your opponent clearing and you not having quality cards in your hand.
Yep, it's playing around Brawl too, to a certain extent. Drawing so that way you have more things to do the following turns. Firebat needs something big. He gets Harrison Jones. That's not useful.
Not quite what was planned.
Ugh, okay. Well, at least now he has the strongest minion on board. For now.
For now.
Well, until Ek0p does something about this directly. You can use the same play that he had offered to him the previous turn, stealing the 1/2. First, he has to kind of evaluate if he wants to heal and draw a card, though, which changes the play.
No, I think he might take it this turn. Or just
Depends.
get the Karen in play.
Ah, nice. So now the Zombie Chow can guarantee to survive.
Yeah, very nice.
And now does he take it? No, it looks like he might drop a Cairn.
Yeah, he's going. I
Make
think
it
he's going for the
resilient.
Karen.
Yeah. Make yourself resilient. You do the same thing as Cabal Shadow Priest anyways, except the guarantee insurance against the mass removal. Solid play overall from Ek0p.
Okay, so I would be very surprised if I don't see Gorehowl come and play this turn.
Yeah, seems like his best opportunity to. There's ways to gain back health with the Zombie Chows, and that can give you longevity on this Gorehowl, because then you're not afraid of losing too much health here.
Yeah, if he plays the Sylvanas as well, there isn't very many good things to steal. Playing it in response to the Karen is typically pretty good, but not when your opponent has enough to clear it easily. And we don't know if Ek0p's playing any silence as well. You definitely don't want to get your Sylvanas
that.
silenced.
Gorehowl does come out, and he's going to immediately try to restore some of his health to buy time. Still has enough attack to kill off whatever these bigger minions come out. Ooh, Ek0p able to double draw now.
Let's see what he gets. But still, it's amazing. That was actually a really, really good draw.
Yeah, definitely. If he picks up Circle of Healing to continue to pick up 4 more draws, that'd be bananas too.
Oh, yeah.
Oh!
What a draw.
Well, there you go. And that is bad news for Firebat. He needs to deal with this board almost like with Brawl, I feel like, or else he's just going to get blown out from this point on. Way too many cards for the Priest. Wow, he's got Sylvanas and Shadow Word Death as a steal against whatever big card that potentially could bring him back too. This is bad news for Firebat.
That was amazing. What a series of draws, man.
That's Hearthstone sometimes.
Yeah, I love it.
Was that sarcasm I sensed in your voice, Impact?
No, I love that part of the game. It's always fun to see how lucky you can get on any given day.
Sure, sure. And of course, Ek0p positioned himself to be very well. I don't see any
No, he's played.
Yeah.
Both players have played this game perfectly.
Yeah, you can
But
definitely check that off your list for sure. Wow, steal his Sylvanas is available to it and shut down your ability to kind of go for a Sylvanas and the Brawl plays.
yeah, I'm pretty sure he's
Very
going to do that.
tempting.
Pretty sure he's going for that. Which we'll probably see Faceless in response from the following turn. But Firebat's life is getting really low. And
Is there
to
an
continue,
alternative play, by the way, that we're not seeing? Because we're kind of blinded by the value you can get by stealing your opponent's legendary.
yeah. I think you just have to deal with Sylvanas by taking it. Sylvanas is like one of the biggest threats in the game right now. And if you can deal with it by just using your Sylvanas to take theirs, I think that's a
Oof.
huge tempo play.
Well, Firebat's on 8 health, so a simple faceless play is not going to keep him alive for much longer.
No,
He needs
he needs
Brawl.
Brawl.
Right here. Brawl, and then you can survive with shield block. No! That is not Brawl. That is the weakest thing you can do to the board. Just 1 damage each. Maybe shield block into the Brawl.
After killing the Sylvanas.
Yes. Oh, Ragnaros isn't it? He's
Not
at
gonna
8
cut it.
health. Can he go for a whirlwind? I don't. He can shield slam still.
Yeah, he has to draw exactly Shield Slam. Pretty sure he's used both his. Aww.
Oh,
That's-
Firebat. And
Poor
you know
guy.
what? Justice, I suppose, a lot of the Reynad fans are screaming it out in front of their monitor. Justice has been served. Brawl being 1 or 2 cards off for Firebat from being effective. Game 3, can Firebat turn around? Hunter against the Priest. Let's talk a little bit about this matchup and what Firebat needs to do to climb back in here.
This matchup's all about being able to get an early start. If you can deny the Priest's early tempo, you have a better mid game. Sylvana high main, they don't really have a good answer for. Well, no deck has a good answer for Sylvana. But Priest actually is one of the few decks that can kill it. Most decks kind of just lose to it outright. Ooh, that is not what he wants to see in his
Okay.
opener.
Well, no play until turn 5. Ek0p will be hoping he can top deck. Meanwhile, we see the web spinner start, so that's better than no start for Ek0p. This could be exactly one of those games that the Priest falls flat on its face.
So it turns out he is
Same time.
playing. Turns out he is playing as Sarah.
Yep. At the same time, the Hunter hand is not exactly stellar either.
No, it's not. What do you think he's going to play here? I'm leaning towards Freezing Trap personally.
Yeah. The freezing trap can, again, it's like what you said, you seize the tempo away. But he sees no drop from the Priest, and you know cards like Pyromancer and Holy Smite don't exist. It's just with no guarantee, it's a little scary sometimes what your opponent can do.
I guess it really comes down to what he gets off the web spinner here. Guess he was debating coining out the power word shield.
Yeah, make it more resilient. But the outcome is similar anyways. Savannah Highmane comes in the hand, and he gets a second Savannah Highmane, which I don't think you'd be complaining about, considering that you have 2 of the strongest cards in the game, at least for the value that you get off of it. And you got 2 of them early on. So that's going to be difficult for the Priest to deal with for sure.
This is actually a really good play. Ek0p is thinking about. He's thinking of coining out the Soul Priest because it's one of the few answers to the Buzzard without attacking.
Yeah, you don't know this Snake Trap, in fact.
Exactly.
This looks like Snake Trap.
It's a very fishy snake trap. That is for sure.
And now Firebat finally has the opportunity to play Houndmaster and put it out of range of the Auchenai. which makes it difficult for you to remove it still, because the 2 damage doesn't do it, and you can't attack with Freezing Trap.
Because he's gonna think it's the snake trap, yeah.
Is he really considering explosive?
No, he's hovering over the card so that his opponent can see that he's hovering over that card.
Oh, so it's a bluff in a way, show the information, not really doing anything with it.
Yeah, it's a mind game.
There you go. Yeah, Firebat does do those things. Like, he pretends he has Soulfire when it's really a Moto Coil, or vice versa. He likes doing those things.
It's a very good technique. It's a very good tactic.
Technique! Sure. All right, I like that word. Yeah, it's ways to throw off your opponent. There's a nice article that someone wrote up about it, that you never know what information might play with your opponent's head.
I think he's just thanking some deity that it wasn't a snake trap.
Yeah, he had no choice but to attack there. I don't know what Ek0p believes in.
I think he believes in Ek0p.
Probably.
Ooh, Animal Companion's a good draw.
Yeah, it gets an activation off this buzzard.
If he gets Leok, he gets a good trade-off too with the Houndmaster.
Absolutely. Second Houndmaster is a possibility as well.
If he goes for the second Houndmaster, he gets a guaranteed kill on the Akanaya.
Still a really difficult buzzard to deal with too. He needs Holy Nova to clear just that card alone. Yeah, and his opponent can't Akanai Circle because the previous one was freezing trapped.
Yeah, he's really mulling over his options here. Houndmaster seems like a good play here.
Yeah. Really? To try and go for the face damage, you're not afraid of losing this buzzard? It just feels too good. Next turn you got High Main.
He could actually death the buzzard if he had it, which is crazy.
Shadow Word death the buzzard. What kind of game is going on here?
Man, we're seeing some backwards Hearthstone game, and I love it. This is beautiful.
Well, this is a little preview of what the buzzard would look like if when the nerf goes through. It's just this really strong minion that's like a 3/2 that's been buffed to a 6/2. And you just draw off a normal card on turn 6, turn 5 buzzard, turn 6 High Main. Pretty legit.
Are we gonna see the triple High Main?
Oh my god, you're right. There's 3 High Mains in the hand. This is starting to turn into quite the hilarious blowout here.
Yeah, this is what could happen from the Hunter side. It all looks good on paper, not banning the Hunter, but when you don't ban the Hunter, man, the Hunter strikes back.
Yeah, I always feel like I would live to regret it, unfortunately. Now, this is just one game. Ek0p still has 2 other decks remaining, but we know one of them is Warlock, which could be disaster. Is this game, by the way? I think so, yes. With Hero Power and Unleash, it's more than enough.
And
Eagle Hurl. All right, so this game is over. Ek0p got blown out, but to be fair, he did get a bad draw, and this Priest deck is capable of it, which makes me believe that it's still not optimized yet with how it's built because of the inconsistencies it sometimes shows every so often. But at the same time, Ek0p did get some work in. He killed off 2 decks with it. Often are included. We don't know if he's running Undertaker and a lot of those Death Rattle tempo cards. We didn't even see Mad Scientist, for example, which I have to think it's in the deck. So perhaps Firebat can get off to even a better start comparatively. And if he does, how does he use that to his advantage to overdraw the Paladin?
These are some good draws from the Paladin. These are the cards he wants to see against the Hunter. I'm pretty sure the build that he's playing is the standard 2 freezing traps, 1 explosive with Scientist. Okay, we see a big game Hunter. Oh, wow.
Double Hunter's Mark start for Firebat.
Nice.
That ain't pretty.
What do you want to see?
Oh boy.
Shaded Naxxramas, very cool.
Yeah, this is E0p's build, as far as I know. Maybe he got it from somewhere else, but he was the one that I saw playing the Shaded Next Ramus in his Paladin deck. I like it. It's pretty good.
I like it. I
A lot
see
of
where it's going.
flexibility.
That card can get very scary very quickly.
Yeah, and what I like about Shaded Next Ramus and Paladin is because there's times where you don't want to drop Alder Peacekeeper as your 3-drop, and then Acolyte just feels too slow/weak on the board impact. So I feel Shades is a good compromise because it can scale very well in the late game, obviously, but it can even deal with aggro and go 2 for 1 without committing like your Peacekeeper when you know there's better cards to use it on.
All in all, seems like a good fit for this deck. For sure.
Now, one card that it's kind of vulnerable to is Flare, which is hilarious because people don't usually keep the Flare to reveal concealed creatures, but it does work out in this scenario, and the snipe on the Shade ends up leaving E0p pretty salty here.
What do you think he's going to play this turn? Do you think he's going to go for the sword, or do you think he's going to go for...
Oh yeah, sword.
Yeah.
Deny the Houndmaster, you have to.
Is Houndmaster as a 4/4 really, or is it really that scary though? Because he does have the sword to counter it the next turn. But I guess this lets him play the Sludge Belcher.
It's true. Yeah, that is true. But then you can take out whatever you have here and, like you said, play the Sludge Belcher, so... I feel like it's a slightly better line of play. Plus, you get the full usage of mana.
Yeah.
Firebat's still looking for more ways to stack the board, but he picks up Highmane, so that's a great card to have in his repertoire. Now he can take out the Sludge Belcher's first body with Hunter's Mark and play Lotheb, but then it's weak to Truce Over Champion. So this is where Truce Over Champion is so important in the matchup because you're able to get that extra damage in to kill off whatever threat the Hunter puts out.
Yeah, weapons are very, very strong against Hunter's early game. From here, he's considering the Lotheb and the Hunter's Mark. Got to get one of those Hunter's Mark out of your hand.
There's no way around this play, honestly.
Yeah.
You're sad to give it up, but at least it's not on your Highmane, I guess. If your opponent had Peacekeeper plus the Truce Over Champion, completely nullify it.
So true. If he plays Aldor here, he doesn't want to for sure. What do you think about Karen?
The thing I'm always afraid about Karen for sure is Freezing Trap, and it becomes completely unplayable. But there's no board at the moment. It's kind of hard to say. Plus, I like to keep Peacekeeper for the Highmane, so that way it's much less of a threat.
Yeah, for sure. Keeping the Peacekeeper is correct. Sentient Hero Power could work. Karen could work. Sentient Hero Power kind of plays into Unleash, but you are able to trade off your 1/1 and the sword into the Lotheb. Or you could just not Hero Power. But
it's not as obvious as you think. The nice thing about Sentient is that if he doesn't have Highmane, it plays a pretty good against Animal Companion as well. But you're right, this does open itself up to more of an Unleash. Fortunately for E0p, though, there is no such combination in Firebat's hand at the moment.
Like, just imagine Buzzard Unleash on this board with the Hunter's Mark in his hand.
Oof. Bye-bye, board. Now, second Hunter's Mark, is there justification of using it, or do you just pick up the 1/1 trade?
I think you just trade in the 1/1. The Hunter's Mark could be used on Ysera, Guardian of Kings, other taunts that are higher priority.
Yeah, I agree with there. Now, you have also a Consecration to deal with the 2/2, so with Alder Peacekeeper and the fact that you have the Consecration, you're very well equipped to deal with whatever that comes out from this Hunter player. E0p's in a pretty decent position here. He's even got Lay on Hands as heal, which sometimes you don't have access to. Those are the worst games when Hunters are rushing you down and you actually have something to do, but you're at 7 health and you have like a full board, and you know they're holding something like Kill Command, at least having the heal as in your hand as insurance is nice.
Yeah, for sure. This isn't one of those games, though. This is one of the games where the Paladin is just going to consecrate the 2/2s, and the Hunter is kind of just sitting there with nothing to do. The Hunter could draw a lot of air if it doesn't draw Buzzard.
Yeah. Second Houndmaster. Well, might happen in this spot. And he does try to at least push through this taunt and fight back for the board. But like you mentioned, Consecration, devastating to the 2/2s that remain. You will get a full board clear.
Ooh, and a Shade.
There you go. So now the mana is being properly utilized. Taking your time, though. Don't want to rush decision. You might want to consider other options. You could go for kill and play, I suppose, Sludge Belcher and Shade. Do you like that better?
It could work. It also opens you up to, well, actually not that much, but Consecration is just very safe. It does challenge the 2/2s on the board, though.
Wow, Karen was a play I wasn't really expecting. Because then, the freezing trap just kill off whatever and isolate it makes Karen just stuck in his tracks. You know, Ekop's really painting over this decision here, just cycling through, will I, won't I?
Well, that's good. It's good to look over all your options to see how the game could pan out.
You know, the problem with the Sludge Belcher is that Hunter can deal with it. Not to mention you stack the board a little bit more in case Buzzard Unleash comes out, and you give your opponent the ability to react, whether he has Kill Command number 2, push through, stack damage, and then you just only have Shades left.
Yeah, that could be problematic.
Let's see, the Cairn?
Not so bad on this board, because
Yeah.
he could just proc the freezing trap with the Shade or the token if it lives.
And meanwhile, the Shade just gets bigger and bigger until Firebat has something to do with it. Kind of baffled that he hasn't drawn either Buzzard or Unleash by now.
Oh,
Well, you know,
there's
I
Buzzard.
spoke too soon. It's the Cast a Curse impact.
Yeah.
But sometimes I also predict the most random stuff, and it does happen.
Yeah, it's the best. Hits for 3, goes to 18.
Still not critical levels yet. With this trap, though, you heavily suspect freezing trap. You saw in the previous game, and you're much more willing to toss away this Shade back to your hand as opposed to Cairn.
You're not too upset to trade the 3 mana for the 2 mana here.
Well, I suppose it's the extra 5 because of the 2 from freezing trap, so a little annoying, but yeah, you can just go back from here, kill off, and continue to stack. His hand is still a little clunky though, but the nice thing is you still sit on that lay on hands as a way to put yourself out of range, and your opponent is running low on cards.
Exactly. And he has Guardian of Kings with it for backup. Potentially 3 draws with the lay on hands as well, which could give him something to combo as a quality.
Yeah, that's actually a good point too. He doesn't have a way to follow up the equality at the moment. Needs Pyromancer, Consecration, something along those lines, or at least a full board so that way equality can be super effective. Firebat's still looking for an Unleash combo. Would be great to refill his hand, cycle through of his deck, but he gets Mad Scientist instead.
It's a good Hunter's Mark turn for sure.
Absolutely. Push through, start pushing damage. Your opponent's getting kind of low. He's in the mid-teens. Down to 11. And that could mean a Kill Command draw would be super powerful.
He's got
Of course,
the
we're still
one
waiting
Kill
for
Command.
Unleash.
Yeah. If he heals
on
back
him.
up, if he heals back up to 19, how much does he lose the next turn?
Well, if he kills off this first body, there's still 7 on board, so you're effectively gaining 1 health and passing your turn, unless you have the 2 mana to do something else that we don't expect.
Yeah.
Gain 1 health, draw 3 cards, pass. That doesn't feel very strong.
Guardian of Kings is probably a bit better, just because it gives you a threat of your own.
Yes, I think so. Still crossing your fingers that your opponent doesn't have Buzzard Unleash.
Oh yeah.
Then that's 4 cards.
You're definitely
Not to
crossing
mention
your
you have
fingers, yeah.
softened up Shades of Naxxramas. And a big moment of truth. If Firebat draws Unleash, this game has been blown wide open. And there's a possibility now with the web spinner. What is he going to chain draw off this? Well, I guess Eaglehorn Bow is better than nothing. He still can get a weapon pop from the Mad Scientist.
Well, this opens up a lot of options for him. He can draw. I'm actually surprised he didn't trade in the Scientist, because if you trade in the 2 damage, you're getting a trap that gives you potentially 3 damage
Right.
with the Eaglehorn Bow.
Well, for the next turn at least. The idea is maybe you can get the 2 damage in and then 3 damage in later. Wow! Holy Light off of the Lay-On Hands, and he can heal back up to 19. Very important. Now he can start trading down the board. And Firebat did use his draw mechanics unless this web spinner picks up a Buzzard.
Yeah, and now with all his options exhausted, it's not looking too good. There's no way to deal the 19 damage that you need. Unless we see a ridiculous series of chain draws here.
Alright, Ek0p avoiding at all costs to make his opponent have the option to trade in web spinner. To give him the opponent to trade in web spinner and draw a beast.
We've seen one freezing trap here. Ooh, Leroy.
Leroy. Well, that 13 health that Ben's recovered was very important for his opponent to try and pick up. Now let's see what he gets off this web spinner. Oh, the worst possible beast. Captain's Parrot. Well, not quite what was planned.
I really like this play that Firebat made. Killing one of the whelps makes it so that he can't kill the Leroy without actually exhausting a card. A very good play.
Yeah, not to mention there are a lot of taunts in this Paladin deck, so you don't have the guarantee of getting Leroy off. So holding him for an Unleash combo is very optimistic when you might not get the guaranteed 6 damage in.
Yeah, for sure. So we know it's explosive.
Yeah, but Tyrion coming down to stop the weapon will be so hard for Firebat to clear unless he has Ironbeak Owl in his deck or something equivalent to that. All he has is a parrot that can summon a non-existent pirate.
It's gonna get the Captain Greenskin, man. Just watch.
Wow, make it a 4-3.
And then still not deal with the Tyrion.
Oh my goodness, second Buzzard. The dream is still alive. Is this Captain Parrot gonna fish for the Unleash the Hounds? He's at 9 cards remaining. That's 2 out of 4 chances to get this Unleash the Hounds. He's still fishing. And he's finally got it. But gosh, that took such a long time. And Ek0p can't believe it because the chain draws. He gives him a thumbs up saying, good for you, bro. But the second 100 mark has been used. So it's not as easy as you might think to get through this Tyrion.
He can't even get through it.
No, he can't. And then you leave yourself open to
Some
like
sort
a
of
Pyromancer clear, a Consecration clear. Oh, goodness. Wow, he puts himself within lethal with the True Silver Champion.
He's just taking his best possible chance.
Right.
I can respect it. If you're Ek0p here, what would you do? Do you kill
Well,
off the...
Lothep definitely important to shut down the possibility of kill command finish. And then Kodo seems like your best course of action. Hits a web spinner. The web spinner's a Tundra Rhino, by the way. Don't know if that ends up having impact. but
Maybe-
there are
maybe if
cool
he
combo
has-
possibilities.
Maybe if he has Stranglethorn Tiger in his deck.
Yeah, or Animal Companion gives him the ability to charge some stuff.
Yeah.
But Firebat's got big problems on his hands. Did the Unleash come too late? It was very close down to the wire.
If he
Oh.
doesn't attack the face here, he can clear with the weapon. But again, his life's really low, so it might be irrelevant. But if he doesn't attack, you can just trade him with the 3 dogs.
Yeah.
So either way, the Tyrion can go down. But I think without spells, going for the face is probably the best.
Going with the face, though, he still can circumvent using the weapon on the face, or weapon on the Tyrion to go weapon to the face. So even though he can't attack into Tyrion to clear, he still can get the synergies with Kill Command first. And
Yeah.
that's where Lotheb comes in, because now Animal Companion doesn't become as strong as possible. And it's very difficult because it's using up so much of Firebat's mana.
I think this one's over, man. I don't see a way out.
Yeah, high main's useless here. You can't get value off of this Tundra Rhino or Animal Companion. And you just can't even get past this Wall of Tyrion without sacrificing what you've got. He's going to go for an 8-mana Animal Companion and perhaps a Misha of some sort to give himself a wall. But
Good old
Huffer doesn't actually do
Huffer.
much. He's still dead here. The Ashbringer, don't forget from the Tyrion, is 5 damage next turn. So as long as Lotheb survives, it's game.
Good old 1 damage off lethal.
Ah, so close. He is so close. And now Firebat's run has ended here, and Ek0p, well, he's going to finish the game the only way Ek0p knows how to, pissing off everybody of Firebat's fans. Well played. Series is over, and Ek0p will go to the grand finals to face Gara.